The Western world is in ruin and ready to collapse. The so-called resistance leaders, they rage bait the slaves, pushing their own demise. Stay angry indeed. Black pills of despair rain from the sky. No one can stop the fall. No one can stop Black Chad, demon of despair.
Stop putting your emotion into it.
Wait,
we need to look for alternatives.
what's this?
Look for solutions. We can't just, give in to despair and this program demoralization of the West. Come on, guys.
What? You're not full of rage or despair? Fine. I will imprison you in an astral dungeon and keep you away from the others. No one will hear about your alternatives or your solutions or your silly indie brands. No one cares. The despair programming must continue.
What?
Welcome to Forever, nerd.
You haven't won, Black Chad.
Oh, yeah?
I'll talk to and review every indie creator I can, and we'll fight against your despair.
Even the bad ones?
Yes, even the bad ones.
Oh.
You don't get it. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me!
Oh.
Now on with the show.
All right. Good morning. Woohoo! We made it to
morning.
Sunday, guys.
I still laugh at that video. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might upset some people who like those shows. You know?
Right.
You'll have that.
Oh, well.
Yes. Black Chad would say, fuck you. Anyways. So this week we've got a large panel, a little bit bigger than I'm used to. That's what she said. And so we're going to be talking about a few different projects for the people on the panel. Plus, we had a decent turnout for the promo ad on Twitter. But the topics for this week is potentially Todd McFarlane is rumored to be buying Diamond, distributing. If you're not familiar with that, Diamond, I think it was Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy a little while ago, and I think the auction for it is coming up this week. So that's one topic. And then the other topic I'd like to get into before the promos is Sigil. I believe that's WotC product. Sigil VTT, virtual tabletop, is basically nosediving. It's collapsed, and they fired like 90% of their workforce. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But first, let's talk to our panel and introduce yourselves. And how's your week going, Derek?
Hi, I'm Derek the Dukester Clay. My week's going pretty good. Getting back into my drawing. I need to get my mojo back a little bit. Got out of sync, so I feel like I got to get my practice in before I can do some pages. But yeah, other than that, it's going great.
I think Temporal Travels had it right. Caffeine is our friend. So
Yeah.
Drink up.
Yes.
Yeah. James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm James Craig. I write books and I have opinions. I'm doing good because this is like the first week in a month where I haven't had some variation of this season's flu.
Ooh,
So finally back in action.
yeah. Take your vitamins and drink water. You'll do fine. And of course, as always, my trusty Chris Fisk on my side. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. We're still working on the Infinitel Chronicles 2 second campaign stuff. God, it's like pulling teeth.
Why? What happened?
Well, it's just we're down to the final stretch of colored pages, and I'm just like, come on,
Yeah. So what you do is you go to the artist's house and you just ask them.
Show up.
You're gonna need a
With
passport
like donuts and caffeine and say, here, finish it, please.
Schnell, ich kann es halt haben.
Yeah, put that gun away. What are you doing? You don't have to threaten them. Or do they? Derek, does that work best?
Threatening is best. It's always best.
See James is we were talking about in the back room. Like, just it's going to be hard finding an artist.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then new guest and also I think new audience member too is Dave from Temporal Travels. So how are you doing today, Dave?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me. I'm an aspiring author, aspiring game designer. I have opinions too, so hopefully I'm entertaining.
Yes, yet another nerd creator to be thrown into the maw of the internet. Welcome to it. Hopefully it doesn't chew you up too bad and make you better, like so many. But
I feel personally attacked here.
yeah, Dave, his a lot of the stuff is pretty unique. It looks like most of your products are like interactive, kind of like game props in a way, right?
Yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is to address certain flaws there are in certain tabletop RPGs. So like for the module I wrote, I dislike the linear module. You go from encounter A to B to C. If you spent at any time playing tabletop RPGs, you pretty much can feel the bumpers, and people try to resist that once they get into the intermediate or the advanced stage. So what I did was to write a module that's organized by sections, by locations, so that as a DM, all you have to do is choose from wherever the party is. You can run a storyline, a subplot, or a narrative one-shot. So I've done all the plotting for you, so you can design the encounter. Just spend more time on the story.
Very cool. Very cool. And it's very unique. I don't know that anybody is doing something like that. So it's very cool. All right. So the first thing we should do, let me see. Let's pull up this this article from, I think it's Bleeding Cool. Bleeding Cool, talking about more on Todd McFarlane buying Diamond Comics distributors. The rumor that's going to happen. So, are you guys familiar with this at all?
Yep.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess my quick take on it is I'm not really sure what it will do for the business. I know Todd McFarlane, from my understanding, they talk about in this article that he has a history with the owners at Diamond. Diamond gave Image their first chance for distributing Image comics, and really kept them, in people's, keeping them in their stores, really. So, it kept Image from crashing right away. And it looks like perhaps Todd has the opportunity to do a little payback and keep Diamond afloat. And with that predator, bird of prey look on his face.
Did anybody else hear me fart? Like,
yeah, he's like, oh. Anyways, yes, the Todd father.
Does anyone on this panel know if Diamond stocks Dark Horse, or does Dark Horse use some other distributor?
I'm not sure, because there's a few of them, right? There's like Lunar, Penguin, and Diamond. Maybe is there another one on top of that? I'm not sure.
So my read on the situation is Diamond is over capitalized, I think is the term, for the amount of comics that America is consuming.
Yeah.
Which is why they're going into bankruptcy. And
interesting.
Nothing's going to save the company, in my opinion, unless they fix that problem. And realistically, the only thing that's going to fix it is if they start taking over the distribution of manga.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a former employee of Todd, and what I worry, and probably a lot of people that are under that crashing company, is that Todd will go in and instead of learning like what James just said, like adapt to the market and start supplying for that demand. Well, Todd's more of a let's make things austere. And he'll start carving out the company and laying a lot of people off, including like vital people, because we got to save money, because the guy is so cheap. He like brings the same meal, like he doesn't order meals or go out to eat. He like brings his own little can of tuna fish and like it's like it's really weird. Like, but like I see him more as a hatchet man if he ever goes into a company like that, and it's not you're not going to save a company by hacking it. You got to adapt. And manga is what there's a demand for right now. And if you oversaturate the market with stuff that there's no demand for, you go into bankruptcy. And that's what's happened. nobody's buying those Western comics, and they're flooding these like stores. Are like, dude, we can't sell this crap.
Do you think he'll hatchet it if he's friends with the guy, though? I mean,
oh yeah, because he wants to save money. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, he must be friends with the owner, but he's not friends with the employees.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lowly guy, filling the boxes. I'm sure he's gonna get a pink slip real quick.
Yeah.
So has
What's
McFarlane
that?
ever? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it. What's up?
I
You
was
just
just
gotta
wondering-
jump in.
Got it. Just wondering if McFarlane has ever gone into the logistical side, because he's
Mm.
founded McFarlane Entertainment, McFarlane Films. He's always on the creative side.
hmm
Yeah, so I don't know if he has any interest in the nuts and bolts of getting things to market.
Well, not only that, his whole his whole shtick outside of Image, bringing Image up and Spawn and all that stuff has been his toys, his whole toy line.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
just
I think he's
turning
more of a
everything
businessman than you're giving him credit for.
yeah. I mean, he's found a way to distribute those and market those well.
Yep.
Can he turn that? Does he know the logistics of it well enough, of distribution well enough to take on something like Diamond?
Well, he's compromised the quality of his products to save a penny. He basically let go of all of his American employees and has hired Chinese, and they're doing it's from what I hear, it's that Hatchet Man, moniker is pretty apt. Like he just goes in and like, oh, we gotta save money, and it's like the quality. Like if you've actually grabbed had in your hand a McFarlane action figure, some of these lines will disintegrate in your hand.
Really?
I can personally vouch for that. I had the Samurai Spawn line.
Yeah.
And so that not only did they edit some of the characters prior to release, like they're like, well, you can't put her without pants. So they like painted black pants on this one character. And like you got the character in your hand and you're trying to snap together the pieces and they fit for about a week. The character can't stand. And then it just starts like chemical smells and then it just falls apart.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like a soft rubber, and it's like this is the direction he went, and some of the sculpts started suffering and stuff. Again, buddy, I worked at, he worked at McFarlane Toys. Like he was up there. He was part of the concept team and all that stuff. And they get these proofs, and they're like, "What the hell is this crap?" Like, oh, we gotta save money,
That's
totally
Does he use
disintegrate.
PVC for it?
What's up?
Does he use PVC for the figures?
I wish I knew. He just said that the quality of the sculpts and the materials that they use would like just disintegrate in your hand.
Yeah, I heard he uses PVC and the souls of Chinese slaves.
I'll
Disintegrate,
have to
you hear the soul released from the packaging.
Don't look directly in it. Close your eyes.
Just kidding. That's not true.
So what I'm willing to bet is he looked at the market and he said, well, I could use PVC or I could use ABS. And look at all every board game and toy uses PVC to save money because it's easier to mold.
Yeah.
So I'll do that without realizing that PVC can't hold edges and it degrades over time.
Yeah.
Because making figures is actually pretty well established on a chemical level.
Mm-hmm.
And Japan does it constantly. Japan has that doc bit.
Oh yeah, the manga figures and stuff. Yeah, or the anime ones.
So something here that the article says is, it would also bring some much needed stability back to the marketplace. I don't know. I'm not sure that's true.
Yeah, I think James summed it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Western comic market needs to figure out how to not go down in a flaming ball of of wreckage. I mean, what was it? Marvel and DC, neither one of them are actually using Diamond anymore. They used to, right? And they haven't for a while. And Diamond hasn't recovered from all that, from my understanding.
Right.
And it contributes to them falling. Also, the fact that a lot of people aren't, they're not buying the Western stuff. So yeah, I guess maybe look into the logistics of what is selling at mass volume and figure out how to push that around.
Yeah, Pokemon cards, manga, Japan is kicking our ass for that stuff.
Yeah, I think the hope that everybody sees in Todd is kind of like what they did with comics. I mean, if you look at one company that's kind of been consistent, it's been Image, right? Like I think Marvel and DC have kind of tanked, and it seems like Image is the only one that's still doing what they used to do. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I think everybody sees that hope in him because he seems like somebody who could save the comic industry. I just don't think it's going to happen the way that they, think it is.
Well,
like he's some hero swooping in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think I'm not trying to name drop, but like, did you see that post that John Douglas made a couple of days ago or yesterday or whatever?
Talk about the
The one
Target.
that went viral about Target and all that.
Yeah. He points at an aisle and he's like, dude, this is why guys aren't reading. Like all this crap is like, romantasy and stuff. And then people were countering, well, they're only supplying what there's a demand for. And other people are making points where they're like, actually, those books aren't selling. If they were supplying what there was a demand for, those books wouldn't be on the shelves. It'd be empty shelves, or and it's like, where's the Conan novels? Where's the Solomon Kane novels? Where's the Lord of the Rings?
Online.
But that's what's happening with comics as well. Is like the big guys, Marvel and DC, they're trying to like push for a market that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but the rainbow and the feminine like comic book readers are very niche of a niche, and you're already like comics aren't like super mainstream as it is. People would rather watch YouTube videos than.
Wait a minute. You mean you don't want to see action superheroes like having a tea party and playing dress up?
going to prom?
Show.
Yeah,
Going to prom.
yeah.
Gala.
Like that's the same thing that's happened with Dungeons and Dragons. That's what's happened with all of our cultural like they take these male orientated properties. Then they round off all the sharp edges and make it this pretty like girlish thing.
Yeah,
and it's
female
like
and lame.
Yeah, and it's like it's not even that it's not cool anymore because let's face it, dude, Dungeons and Dragons was never cool. We were the geeks.
But that's the thing. It's the underground thing, man. Like underground is not a thing anymore. They're wiping out underground. You can't.
Yeah, because it's all about brand slavery.
Yeah, it's bland. Yes, it's brands. And that was the coolest thing. Like in the '90s, music was really underground. Anime was really underground. And when you discovered something new, it was fantastic and like exciting. And now, it's what are you discovering that somebody else hasn't already seen?
Yeah, but even if you did if you discovered something that somebody else didn't already see, the merchants of cool have come in and they've said,
right, yes,
the cool kids haven't verified that's a cool thing, so you're a loser. Right. You actually like this this underground band? That's so lame, because like the cool kids aren't verifying it.
Right.
Yeah,
so in 2025, it's technically easy to go find things that people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that people don't want to do that because we're now fully aware that what you're doing is slop mining. you have to go to sites like Royal Road, or you start plumbing the depths of Webtoon or something for where like nobody creators like me are putting their stuff out.
Reddit, go on to Reddit. No.
And you probably can. You definitely can find super high quality that hasn't caught on. But you're sifting through.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard to find the needle in the haystack, I think.
It's also a social media popularity contest instead of about the quality. Yeah. You could have the coolest freaking product in the world, be underground and undiscovered, and like we're talking high level production quality and stuff. Yep. Nobody gives a crap. It's got to be like. You got to be like, is there an edgy social media hashtag? Like, there was an author that made a post about that. She's like, I was denied from a publisher shot me down after saying like I was like the next big thing and stuff because I don't have a great social media presence.
Okay, so publishers expecting creators to have social media presences is parasitism. Those publishers can go bankrupt.
Yeah. And it's always chasing the next trend. Like, what's the next cool thing? Tell us what should be cool so that we can follow it.
Right. Yeah, well, they said there's no virtue in being a small creator. And, I agree with that. You've got to get it out there. Otherwise, you don't matter. And social media, however you can get seen, seems to be the way to do it. I figure over time, my brand, my product, whatever, will catch up, enough of an audience to sustain itself. At least that's the hope. Now, whether or not I'm, featured in Diamond Magazine or something, I don't know. Maybe I'll go that way, but it doesn't really seem like. Because my understanding is they take like 60% anyways.
Oh, damn!
Wow.
You don't.
Valve.
Yeah, well, because I think I was watching Shane Davis, his 9 Lives YouTube, and he was talking about Diamond and all that stuff, and with his experience in the mainstream and stuff like that, and they take a considerable amount to distribute your books. So, I don't, is that really the future for people like me? I don't know. I guess if I don't really care about seeing the person that I'm selling to or whatever, but I'm also not going to get any kind of a real profit off of any of that. It's just getting it out there, and maybe somebody will buy it,
right.
Which isn't a bad thing. I just haven't taken that route yet.
So I think you might be underestimating how many comic shops are dependent businesses. That they're basically just
Diamond
storefronts for Diamond.
Oh yeah.
Like the owners of a lot of comic shops have no idea what is being produced except what Diamond has on their catalog.
Well, and that's one of the things that Shane mentioned in his 10-minute talk about it was like, can Todd come in and save the local comic shops? Because even if it infuses it with some cash for a short time, I'm not sure it's a long-term win. I don't know.
Well, if there's no demand for the product, it doesn't matter how it's distributed.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So I have a theory on what the Western comic industry needs.
All right, let's hear it.
They need their own version of Shonen Jump.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Shonen Jump is amazing, dude.
So that might sound ridiculous to some people, but what Shonen Jump is a weekly release that people will reliably buy because it has a single super lead, One Piece, right? But if people are willing to buy that magazine every week to get a single chapter of One Piece, but they get 19 other I think it's 19. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the Gong Show.
19 other chapters of other stories, and at some point, you bought that product. You're going to flip through. Something might catch your eye, and you go, "Oh wow, Jujutsu Kaisen actually looks pretty cool." Hold on, I have the last 30 issues of Shonen Jump sitting on my bookshelf. Let me go back to chapter 1 and catch up, and then you have a Jujutsu Kaisen reader. I don't even know Jujutsu Kaisen is in Shonen Jump. Don't sue me. It leverages the super lead correctly in order to get other stories into people's hands. Because if you have someone showing up to buy Thor or Spider-Man, they will look at covers, but the hurdle to buy them is much higher than if you were already fronting that money to pick it up.
Well, it also has a voting system too, where you fail quickly.
Yes. They're also extremely cutthroat and much wiser editors.
Yeah.
So wrote.
Isn't that McFarlane's kind of a habit, which is to bring people over that have kind of gotten the bad shakes at Marvel or DC? So he's brought talent over to create something new. So that model can actually work.
Yeah. Well, like make a Spawn comic, just like what James was saying. Make a Spawn comic. There's your lead. And then throw a bunch of indies in there as well as the ancillary material. So it's like you came for Spawn. Now, after you read the first chapter of whatever the latest Spawn magazine or whatever it is, you now get the first chapter of insert indie comic here or whatever. And then there's a voting thing on the back. Go to this website. Tell me what you think.
The problem is somebody like Spawn would never promote the indies like us. You know what I mean? Like we would have to find somebody that would promote with us, with indie creators. So that's the hard part.
Well, you got to look at it as like stages. And Spawn promoting, someone name a B tier comic that functions.
Is there one?
Yeah, I don't think there is one.
Spawn would be the super lead for the rest of the stuff that McFarlane has poached. But so maybe it's not Spawn that would be linked to bottom rung indies. No offense.
Yeah.
But the others creators that are, that are riding Spawn's coattails could be the link to the indies in other formats. Because once those people get a fan base, the fan base then looks at what's adjacent to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's a good idea.
The Shonen Jump magazine also simplifies things for smaller comic shops. Like maybe there's a Magic the Gathering card shop that makes their money by selling card packs and Funko Pops, and
which is a lot of it.
They know their consumers are interested in comics, but they can't dedicate $50,000 of inventory and shelf space to a comic collection. Right. But they can get a weekly shipment of this magazine and just have that.
Yeah, I mean, look at this dude's face. He is listening. He's like, okay, he's taking notes. He likes where you're coming from. He's going to apply that up the flagpole.
Come on, I'm a writer.
While he eats his tuna, right? You said he eats tuna every day?
Or sardines or something like right out of the can. Like,
first of all, salute to that kind of dedication and absolute psychopathy. Good for him. We've got over 20 people watching right now. So somebody out there has not hit the like and has not subbed to the channel. So help out a struggling little channel like mine and come back for more and go look at some of our older stuff. This indie shop stuff is a new format that we're doing. It's kind of like our old format, but I don't know, with a new name. Anyways, help us out. Hit the likes, hit the subs, and share it out. All right. Any last words on this one? I think we pretty well covered it. I like what James was saying. I really, I agree. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of cooperation in those ways. People are like, they're mainly, or sure, they'll help you out. They'll have you on your channel, like kind of like what I'm doing and stuff like that. But getting people to work together and then having somebody as leader step forward and have everybody cooperate. Okay, we're going to put, so many pages of your book in here as just a preview and then sell it. It would take a big name to do that. And it could breathe life into the indie comic scene. I agree. Anybody else's last thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly think James's point about putting in the lead and then having like the little guys afterwards, like that's almost what like these independent groups like Comicsgate, Iron Age, like that's kind of what they're trying to do, but like having it instead of like a platform where it's like, I don't want to say slot mining, because I think that's, I mean, it's accurate, but it's also kind of offensive, but like,
I publish on Royal Road. I can say it.
But it's like you're saying though, if you have like a good book, like one of these bigger guys that are super successful in CG or Iron Age or Rippaverse or whatever group. I'm just throwing names out there. I'm not saying I'm affiliated with any of them because I don't want to. But like,
great, now it's over. You fucking love everything. You love all the bad guys.
But if you offered that opportunity to slide in a chapter of Immortal Rising, a chapter of Infinite Tale, a chapter of Ballad of the Celestials, a chapter of whatever James is working on, or Temporal Travels, like something that's referenced in there that you bought this product that's based off of their the big stuff, and they're like, I came for this, but the matinee also has these these free movies that came afterwards. I'm going to stick around in the theater, and then eventually it's like, hey, I've seen this movie or I've read this chapter, like I want more of that, and then that's when you can start springboarding bigger books. And Shonen Jump does that really well. They actually, it's like it is cutthroat, but it's honest because they do the fail quickly or fail fast method, which is that's how you succeed in business, by the way, is you fail quickly because nothing is perfect. You're never going to get something right, right out the door perfectly. So when you get these like little mini failures and you're able to adapt and come back, quicker. If you've ever read the Shonen Jump books, they're not like the boutique, high quality, like expensive books that we release here in the West. It's manga. It's all line art and Computones or Duotones or whatever, and it's quick.
Like
get it out there,
like a book of ash cans, kind of. Right?
Yeah, and it's like, what sticks? Oh, that doesn't stick. Yeah. Okay, you wasted like a couple grand. Sorry, it sucks, but them's the breaks. Or
Yeah.
holy crap, this is awesome. Let's expand upon this, and bam, you got yourself another hit, and then that can spawn more hits as the lead.
Yes, and
this
it's,
may sound
one of the things,
controversial.
as someone who offers that kind of a book to compile all this stuff, maybe put in a writer of theirs like, well, I'll also distribute your stuff, something for the guy who puts everybody into that, has an opportunity to make some money themselves, to be incentivized to do that, because nobody's going to do that out of the kindness of their heart,
No.
or out of the kindness of their heart for Western culture. Like, it's not going to happen without money. So
Yeah,
I'm with you though. I love it. It's great. Well, I'm glad that we solved that problem. Everybody, let's go ahead and skip on to our next one. And this one is, we're not going to watch this. I'm just going to have this playing in the background. But basically, D&D Sigil virtual tabletop. It's they fired 90% of their staff, and it's pretty much it's over for them. And I don't know a whole lot about it because I mostly do dry erase boards, and I do theater of the mind.
that's what everybody does.
Kid will do miniatures, but like a virtual tabletop, I hadn't considered it, because it's like you're basically buying skins. It's just another kind of video game, and that's not why we get together to play.
Yeah, they missed the mark on this, dude. This is what happens when you hire a former Microsoft producer to walk in and say, this market is dreadfully under monetized. Yeah, that's because that's not what that market, Dungeons and Dragons, wasn't about that. In fact, the majority of people who play Dungeons and Dragons have house rules. They use the books as minor suggestions. Like you're introducing an amateur community created content business ecosystem to this extremely predatory DLC video game crap. These are video games, dude, and it's a shitty video game at that. Why don't you just play Baldur's Gate 3? Right.
Well, and they're missing the other part, which is the imagination, which makes D&D fun. So you don't get the imagination when it's already filled out for you.
Yeah, and they nickel and dime the shit out of these people. You can't even mod in your own free. Say you have skill as a modeler, as an animator or whatever. Well, you can't just throw your own shit in there. No, you got to buy their shit. Okay, you just put a gated garden on your Dungeons and Dragons game. No thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, look at that guy. Isn't that dude's last name is like Cock or something? Just saying.
Damn it.
I'm sorry, Chris.
The problem I'm seeing with Sigil here is it doesn't actually fix any of the issues D&D has.
Mm-hmm.
Number one being the true enemy of Dungeons and Dragons. This does nothing to help that.
Virginity?
The true enemy that is the bane of every D&D group is scheduling.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Look at this.
So
this
there are things that could be done. Hasbro also owns Magic the Gathering, and they had a lot of success with Arena for a reason. Because Arena is how you play Magic the Gathering when it's not Friday Night Magic. On your own schedule, you can jump in and get a game.
Yeah.
But D&D still requires you to have the same group of friends show up at the same time reliably. And therefore, all the success they saw with Arena, and probably all the data mining they got out of Arena, simply is not going to transfer here.
I gotta be honest.
Now you're talking about, okay, it's D&D, but it's a video game. Why aren't you just playing a video game? Why not make multiplayer? Right.
Yeah, I would enjoy this as a video game if I got to play it and just run my character through, and that'd be great.
Yeah, my table? No,
not as a tabletop.
We're not going to sit and do this. I've got two players that that Discord in, and I've got a player or two that comes in physically now, because one of my players is lives in Hawaii now, and the other one is too lazy to get up and be on time, so they just call in, and well, he works third shift, and then whatever. So, but he just sits in his underwear, drinks coffee, and plays. I guess I don't know, but But we're not going to get online to like. I play Final Fantasy 14 for video game stuff.
Yeah,
you know, if I want to play a role playing game online, I'll jump on that or something else. You know, an actual video game. We're not going to sit around computers and do, because like you guys were saying, it's, you know, it's about the imagination. I don't want to. I mean, this is cool. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. This looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's not how we play this game.
Well, it's not how anybody
and you
plays,
can't
though.
bring in the homebrew shit. You know, we don't play exact rules. So, and I don't know anybody who does.
Okay, so here's a scenario. This is how out of touch these executives are. Here's a scenario. You're a dungeon master and you've created your own special monster or whatever to throw at the party. How do you get it in there? Oh, sorry, we got to use a placeholder. Yeah, this isn't really a beholder. It's a insert, you know, Demogorgon, whatever monster like you've created. Well, you can't use your shit. And that's the whole point of Dungeons and Dragons is that you're creating your own shit. Right. And these people don't understand that market. Like they're like, why don't we just give them all this pretty art that, you know, we can sell them and stuff? And it's like, have you ever played a Dungeons and Dragons game? Like ever? We use pieces of paper for our figures when we didn't have like,
I draw my characters. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You can't even do that now.
Man, get Grok to make an AI image of what you want. Come on.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But like these 3D models, like these figurines, like you can't, like your placeholders, like, like they're like, and they won't allow you to import your own shit. So yeah, you got AI now. You got Grok. You can make your own character portrait. And they're like, sorry, that character portrait isn't part of the Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms official pack of character portraits. So you got to use our shit instead. And it's like, no. Like, I want to use my own
that
shit.
reminds me of the other thing. The second biggest issue is there aren't enough DMs for the amount of players.
Oh yeah. Yeah, DMs sucks, man. It's a hard work.
Hasbro has to be aware of the fact that people are going to go to AI dungeon mastering.
Eventually. I believe
and that's just a video game at that point.
Yeah.
Depending on the mechanics you want for combat.
But it's like that's what tabletop role-playing games were. I mean, I'm probably the oldest one here, the old fart, but like for me, Dungeons and Dragons and pen and paper tabletop role-playing games was like the poor man's video games. Like this is what we played before video games had good graphics and before video games became these compelling cinematic, marginally interactive CG films that we see today. Like it was about you sitting at a table with a bunch of your buddies talking about stupid shit, and you got dice and figures, and somebody went through a lot of work as a dungeon master to set up scenarios for you. You know?
Right.
And that's not what this is. This is literally an automated experience that's sterile. You're using pre-approved, like, you know, cookie cutter templatized, like, this is what you should do. Homebrew? Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
You want to veer from the path? That ain't happening.
Yeah, I played Adventure on the 2600 or Atari, so I'm
yes.
All
right. Welcome, brother.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but the one problem. Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go for it.
The one problem I've always seen with every virtual tabletop is that it takes DM so much time to design one room. I'm spending so much time trying to create the one encounter. I have like 3 hours of material to go through.
Dude,
yeah, Dungeon Masters wanted to build 3D environments. We've had Minecraft for what, 20 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me started. Oh my gosh, Minecraft. I'm sorry, not a fan. But my son's like, "Oh, let's play Minecraft." I'm like, "Please, no." Please it's fine. I get it. People love it. I am not a fan.
Legos.
Now,
yes, exactly. I'd rather just play with Legos, but that's
for all my naysaying, if I had $200 million to do what I'm about to say, I would do it. Because I think the third biggest issue with D&D after scheduling and DMs is the combat system kind of sucks. Like we now know what good combat can be, even in in person with pens and papers. Like board games are so much more mechanically fun than Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
If I had $200 million, I would build a phone app that does the combat live action, where you log into your session with the DM, and the DM says you're fighting 10 goblins, and it's like Final Fantasy. Drop into an instance of combat, and you have live action combat.
Yeah.
And then you're done with combat. You put your phones down. You go back to the regular playing until the dungeon master does an ogre breaks through the door. And then out come the phones, fight the ogre. Combat would take 4 minutes instead of the 40 minutes that Dungeons and Dragons combat can take.
Yeah, you're forgetting about the wizard in the group who, is sitting there trying to figure out what spell to cast. But I like where your ideas are.
Well, like this is what bothered me about 3.5 was like, so I played a rogue, okay, and the rogues are, the 6-sided die is the rogue's best friend, and so you roll the d20, and you're like, okay, I hit, okay, now roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
They're the Imperial Guard of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, roll 9 6-sided dice. Oh, but you got the trait Craven, so add another die to that. Okay, now you got to calculate. Like math isn't fun, by the way. So calculate all of those numbers and figure it out. Either get a notepad, do the math, especially with our American education system. So you're like, oh, so you do all that shit, and then it's like, okay, all of that just for one attack. Now somebody else do that again as a mage. Yeah, like I have 1d4 plus this plus that, and you're running out this like looks like a Goodwill Hunting equation that you're like expecting them to like do, and it's like that's not fun, guys. Like I want to know, did I kill him? Did I hurt him? Did he hurt me? Did I die? Like that shouldn't be something where you crack out a paper and you're taking 10 minutes to do an equation. Like did I optimize this?
I agree. It's like, you take notes. Yeah. Like when I have, cause I play 3.5, when I have when I have a lot of effects on say a weapon or on myself or something, I have a note cheat sheet that tells me everything that's on that weapon, because especially if it's like go-to abilities, I just have it all figured out anyways. And then, so I can just roll and get it over with. So it's like the formula. I agree. There is the Goodwill Hunting formula that you have to, number crunch, but it's really not that bad when it's already figured out for you, like a macro or something. But
try being a new player and you're creating a character.
Yes.
The barrier to entry is so high. You're like, why do I have to go to a website to build my damn character? Oh, you just created a GIMP character. This character's like, hamstrung. They can't do anything now, and you can't do anything about it. Like World of Warcraft solved that problem with reinvest skill points. Well, you can't do that in Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there's your character. You screwed it up. Have fun, Gimpy.
So what I'm hearing is you guys are big fans of 5th edition.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. 5th edition is popular for a reason.
It refined a lot of the rough edges. Unfortunately, the tea parties and the proms and stuff and the Mexican orcs is really what turned a lot of players off.
Who invited the stinky girls? Yeah.
Well, dude, they got rid of Mike Merles there, who if you follow him on Twitter, like this guy has got sage advice as a game designer, and it blew my mind that the guy lived across the street from me when I was a kid.
That is crazy.
Man,
yeah, that is crazy. So I don't know.
I think 5th edition is almost like the end stage of Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. I don't think there functionally is an improvement to 5th edition. Because it already reached the saturation point.
I agree.
I describe it as the system that isn't, because there is so little going on. There's nothing to stop you from playing the game. Mm-hmm. The way, like, pulling up a Dark Heresy warp chart will, or the critical hit. 5th edition just runs, and you can make shit up on the fly very easily as the Dungeon Master. So there's no reason to learn another system. And there's a reason that the new edition, the update to 5th edition, didn't sell. Because there's no reason
it didn't do anything. There's no reason to go to it. And they disincentivize you by being complete assholes to their fan base. I wasn't interested anyways.
Gaming license fiasco, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we covered the OGL fiasco when it happened. And it was like, do you want another bullet for the gun that you just shot yourself with or what,
Well, that. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, 5th edition. James brings up a good point. Like 5th edition was like chess, okay, and then their expansions were like. Do you remember all of the pieces in chess that people tried to add after chess was made, and they just all failed? No. Like, when was the last time you had a pope on your chessboard or the cannon? Those don't exist because they didn't need to.
YouTube videos.
Yeah. Like they didn't need to. Like 5th edition. Maybe it is the end stage. I don't know, but it's at a point now where it's accessible enough for the non-initiated, and it's still robust enough for the skilled players. And that, as a game designer, dude, I wasted 10 years doing this crap. But as a game designer, that is your ultimate like goal, is to make something easy to pick up, difficult to master. And that's what 5th edition has become. You know, everybody can grab it. There's no barriers to entry anymore.
So I got a question for you guys. Why do you think that they put so much effort and money into this? Like, so my idea is, I'm assuming it's they want to nickel and dime everybody, like the way that video games do now, where you have to buy everything every so often. But it feels like this came from like somebody had a meeting, right? And they're like, okay, what are we gonna do about all this COVID shit? And everybody's locked down. How can we take advantage of it? And so they're like, well, let's try leaning into the VTT stuff because people aren't getting together anymore. And then they had that like series of meetings. Well, big corporations take a while to move, right? And it just seems like this was a leftover idea. And with it failing so bad, it's become a write-off.
Well, dude, they literally hired like the ex-producer or whatever from Microsoft, who was quoted as saying that this market is dreadfully undermonetized.
Yes.
And it's exactly, it's the microtransactions, like what Jim said. Like, this isn't about, like, they didn't look at a customer problem to try to address. They looked at a means of adding, ACV or annual, basically more revenue to their company. And they're like, how can we get more money out of people that are already paying us? Like, that's how these video game companies or the outer touch corporate people that don't even, I guarantee you the chick the ex Microsoft chick that came over to do this shit has never played a Dungeons and Dragons game in her life. You ask her what Menzo Baranzan is and she'll be like Gesundheit, or what color Raceland Magir's eyes are. They don't care. They're like, oh, that's stupid geek stuff.
I completely disagree with the idea that tabletop is under monetized. It's Wizards of the Coast has a surprisingly small slice of the pie.
Yep.
Because if you go to a Dungeon Master's stockpile of supplies, most Dungeon Masters, me included, and everyone I've ever met, has thousands of dollars of D&D shit.
Yep.
It's just that very little of it is sold by Wizards of the Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You have to add up. So sure, they sell the dice. Or sorry, not the dice. I was about to say that. They sell the books, but they don't sell the dice. They're for some reason bad at selling miniatures and dice and battle maps. They try to do that, but third parties just make better products than them.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that, and they don't have like the board game experience. Like, they're like, this is everything you need to play for Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, where are the figurines? Where are the dice? Where are the,
all the sell those?
Yeah, that back in the day, like the red box, like that was it. You got it all in one box, and they just forgot about that. Now they're like, we want to sell, like what is it? They have like the something's bag of everything now, or like all these like additional supplementary things that like they carved out of the core experience. Like the video game MVP. It's like the MVP should be the entire package, like what they used to do, but it's not as cost effective.
So how many DMs do you think there are in the world? Did Wizards actually make that calculation? Who are they trying to sell to with all this stuff?
Yeah, so there's two types of DMs you have to keep in mind. People who enjoy it and people who are willing to do it.
No, I want to turn on it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, there's probably like not even 1,000 people who enjoy DM.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. But if you look at the X profile for D&D, there's probably 500,000 followers. Maybe 10% of that will be willing to DM. Maybe.
Yeah,
and
which
then
is crazy.
Yeah, and then 10% of that will do it on a consistent basis instead of just trading off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so don't forget how many people are in those groups and don't have a campaign.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. 90.
Yeah, it's so weird because like at my table we have about five right now, about 5 people, and 3 of us DM. We trade off. Okay, you going to DM, you're going to DM. It wasn't that way at first, but we also have other players who who have been in the past, and right now they're like, nah, not going to do it. It's too much, So I don't know. It's kind of like a half and half, at least around my my area, the people that I've played with. So it's just crazy that they have a DM shortage. And I think some of it might be that they don't, players don't want to get involved with building, a whole adventure, you don't even have to do a campaign. Just an adventure that lasts more than say 5 sessions. It takes a lot of work for some people. Me, I've done it for so long, I just shoot from the hip half the time, anyways. But I can imagine, because they get some of the new DMs, they get into minutia, and it takes a skill. You have to kind of like know how to get the table to flow, so you're not like stuck on one thing for 3 hours or something like that. It takes practice, and it is a skill. It's not just something you sit down and can do just easily.
It's a mindset too. I mean, you're talking about the consumer versus the creator. Dungeon masters are creators,
That's
players
fair.
are consumers. And if you want to be entertained, a lot of people aren't going to go, hold on, let me go get this, let me shoulder all of this additional work as a creator. Like, I just want to sit and watch a movie. I don't want to be a director.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about it.
For years after graduating college, I didn't have a campaign. And I kept talking with people that were interested, and I would tell them one thing: I'm willing to dungeon master if you handle the scheduling. And that instantly killed every single burgeoning group.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure it will.
Just wrangling adults to show up on a consistent schedule is, actually, in my opinion, significantly worse than the work of DMing.
Yeah, cat rancher. You're like a producer.
Speaking of wranglers, Wrangler says Minzo Baranzan is the feminazi's dream home.
Fight the patriarchy, Lolf.
Yeah. Remember the Cat of Nine Tails, in the old books? Just fucking whip the dudes. Yeah. Take that, Driss.
So what do you guys think about the current reason why most gaming groups do not take off? I mean, we can get together at the game store consistently. We're looking at each other going, okay, someone's willing to run, great. But they never last past maybe 1 session or 2. So,
people have gotten flaky in the last few decades. I think that's just a fundamental issue.
ADD.
I also have a theory that there's
Instant
3 types
gratification
of campaigns. There's kick in the door, there's tacticians, and there's role players. And you can be one or more of those. But if you have a kick in the door player and a role player, they're there for completely different reasons. And everyone needs to be on the same page for the group to work. If you want to show up and kill monsters, it's fine. You'll have a great time. But if you have 2 people that want to spend an hour planning an ambush and 2 people that want to fight the ambush, at the first hour, half your group's bored out of their minds, and the second hour, the other group's bored out of their minds.
Yeah.
So I have a theory that if you're sitting at my table, I want everyone to sit there with the intention of entertaining everybody else. If you can make other people laugh, then they will come back the next time. And if everyone's on that same page, that should work. But in this day and age, everyone's looking at their phone.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look at anybody else. And everything has in D&D currently is geared towards your experience. You are the hero. There should be your story leading up to some epic conclusion. So it's kind of like 180 degrees turned away from what actually we need to have a group sustain themselves.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah, we have a no phone at the table policy.
It's an attention span thing. Phones have made us turn our attention so quickly now that to immerse ourselves in anything is like very short lived.
TikTok
is what I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys try doing a play-by-post campaign?
Yeah. Like the emails and stuff, or play by email too,
or a Discord server or something, or Roll20 or whatever. In your experience, what is the number 1 cause of death for play-by-post campaigns?
Negligence.
Yeah, pretty much. In play-by-post campaigns, if one person gets sloppy about responding, the next person, like the other people, don't want to respond because, like, I've seen it happen where like 2 people will get into a conversation, and while person 3 is working night shift at their job, and they come back to 100 posts, and they just throw their hands up and walk away because they're like, "Guys, you can't do this without me. Like, I can't catch up on all this. I wanted to have a say. I would have interrupted this." Or they just don't respond to their combat turn, and the campaign dies because it's been a week since of waiting for somebody to roll a d20.
Oh,
right. Yeah. All right, so I guess let's move on. Let's do some promos. I think we pretty well kicked that horse. So long to the VTT of D&D, but I have a feeling that it's not gone for good. We'll see, because I have gone to other I have seen other dungeon dungeon domains, whatever you want to call it. Like I'll go there and like it'll be a group of people playing, and they'll have a big table. They'll have a screen, on the table, and like a VTT experience. So there are some people out there that do that, but I don't, and I don't know a lot of people that do. So maybe in the future it'll become easier to do that kind of stuff, but that day is not today, as they say. So, all right, let's go on to let's talk about David Temporal Travels. Let's see. Let me pull up your stuff here. You have a unique offering to everybody, and I haven't seen it before, so I want to talk to everybody about it.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
And basically, can you give like a quick pitch of what it is that you do?
Okay, so I'm trying to address certain flaws there are in current tabletop RPG systems. The first one would be that the linear written module, I think it's very obsolete, because if you're at all a little bit experienced in playing a game, you want to get away from the bumpers. So you want that sandbox experience. So with the Valmirian Chronicles, what I did was to write a module that's geared for the DM. So everything is listed by location, and with each location, you as a DM can now just design, do you want a storyline, a subplot, or a narrative one-shot encounter? Storyline advances the overall plot. Subplots, I have 2 of them in the book. They're adaptable to any character class. And then if you have someone who just cancels last minute and you wind up with a table of 3, run a narrative one-shot encounter that will still relate somewhat to the overall plot. And then on top of that, I also have a lockpicking mini game, because one of the flaws I've seen in lockpicking skills is that only rogues take it. No one else bothers with it. They always maximize the skill. We always assume it's a take 20 when you're out of combat, and in combat you get 1 pass-fail check. I thought that was kind of important. But what I did was to design a puzzle box, 4 magnetic pins, 16 possible combinations, and you're holding in your hand a lockpick with 4 magnetic lock picks, I guess is the best way to describe it. If you stick it in, you have the wrong combination, the drawer will not pull free, and you can still hear the pins react to the pins. So you can start to deduce the right combination when it's not your turn. And if you stick in the right combination, like it's happening right now on screen, then the drawer actually pulls free in a pretty darn satisfying fashion. And if you want to set the lock as the DM, all you have to do is turn the unit over, and then the pins will fall into the tray. You can pull it out, reset all the pins, just randomize them in your hand, stick them back in, stick the tray back in, and then flip the unit over, and you're back in business. Brand new lock in probably less than 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. That's super cool.
Yeah, on sale now. And it's a collectible too. Everything's handmade, made in the USA.
Nice.
That is cool.
All right, let me see if I can pull that back up. So yeah, I saw a lot of props on your Etsy store, which is pretty cool. I played at a table that was pretty, I wouldn't say heavy props. It is compared to mine because ours is all like theater of the mind kind of stuff, with dry erase boards. But I have played with prop tables, and it's pretty fun. Like the DM got into it. He also got heavy into the role playing aspect of things too. So, which is fun. This is pretty cool. I'm not big on doing voices and voice acting and whatnot, but it's cool when other people do it. So now what is this here? Water breathing potion?
Okay, so I took a Twitter poll, and the 2 most used and potions that people will keep on their person is an invisibility potion and a water breathing potion. But if you've ever had a table where you ask, hey, who has this thing? And miraculously, the right person who needs it at the right time always says, I do. So you may just want to have a token sitting in front of them so that never happens. The invisibility potion I rather like because I found a way to have a glass rod disappear. So there's the same index of refraction. So now if you click into it and then there's a little video that plays, you can actually see that the glass rod disappears within the solution. It's kind of like a quote unquote efficacy rod. It's working because it's actually making things disappear.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Let me see if I can figure this out. Here we go.
Yeah, but these are kind of the introductory pieces of swag that you can buy just for like $3. It's really cheap. But if you wanted to, then you can buy some of the more big ticket items like the simulacrum.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, sweet.
Dang, dude. See, that looks like some stuff that Chris would come up with. I like it. Chris is crazy with his merch. He's awesome.
Yeah, to be
Oh,
honest,
thanks.
He'd slap a
if
label
I
on it.
wanted
It'd look
my
pretty cool.
player tracking potions, I'd be passing around shooters.
Acting, that's good work. Yeah.
Take your potion.
Oh, you want fire resist? You better take this fireball.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the campaign did not last long as everyone got drunk and started fighting. So it got real messy.
That's how
got
you
naked.
induce potion sickness.
Yeah.
How many healing potions have you had tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to cut you off there, buddy.
Let me try putting that in the chat. 1 second. Yeah. So if you liked what you saw, here is Dave's. Come on, there we go. There's Dave's Etsy store. Go ahead and check it out. See if you like using props. If you like that little lock drawer that he made and all that stuff, go check him out. Support him. He saw the channel. Was it last week or something? It was like, hey, can I come on? If you are watching this and you would like to come on the channel, just hit me up on Twitter, and yeah, come on and do a pitch. So that's how you get to be seen. A lot of people don't want to be on these shows or whatever, but the past few weeks we're averaging pretty good. Not quite 100 viewers yet, but over 60 on average. So that's really good. That's 60 new people that have not seen your product. So that's really what we're here for. And speaking of which, did you guys have a chance to check out the Twitter ad where we talked about, where I was like, hey, let's promo your stuff. Did you have a chance to vote for anything that you liked?
So I scrolled through that, and the one that caught my mind was Jonathan Colton's black and white one was what stopped me while scrolling through.
Let me see if I can find it.
It's the black and white one.
At the very top?
No, that's Patty. Scroll down some more.
Yeah, it has two images, and the one of them on the right is like an animated book.
Oh, nice.
This one.
Oh, here we go. This one?
Oh, that's the one I chose. That's good.
Sweet. Let's pull it up. All right. 52 pages in glorious black and white with some red. If you like horror action books like Ghost Rider or Hellboy, have I got a book for you? 52 pages are all done and ready to print. Back it today. Sink your teeth in now while you still can. Well, let's check this out.
The art looks fantastic.
Yeah, that bowl looks amazing.
Let me do this juggle till I can.
That's what drew me into it.
This.
You gotta confirm the link before you stream it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know what everybody was going to pick. So, all right, Paul Bunyan versus Dracula. Is this it?
Yep.
Now, see, this is a great example of what I mentioned earlier of the idea is what sells it.
Yeah. Here, let's play the trailer. Yes.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yep.
Dang. That's cool. I like that. Nice. Ridiculous.
Okay, one thing I couldn't pick out was where was Paul Bunyan in all that? Did you notice that was Paul Bunyan or not? That's the only thing. Other than that, it looks great. So
yeah, looks great. Man, I really like.
I'm a fan of the art style, and
yeah, me too.
I think this style is going to become more popular because this is something that, for whatever quirk reason in the programming, AI cannot do this style.
Yeah, it's too complicated.
AI can only generate photorealistic, probably because it was trained on stock photos mostly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's just working in shadow. So whenever you look, a lot of it, I mean, there's not even that much.
No, it's not.
Well,
From a human perspective, it's not complicated, although very few people can do it in the art.
Yeah.
I think it's more complicated to draw. So
yeah.
Because you really have to know shadow to get that 3D, because it looks 3D even. The way that they do the depth. So to establish that, you have to really know what you're doing.
Well, AI has to like when you're doing hashing, the cross hatch or in this case, the line hatch, like AI has to keep track of every one of those lines. And sure, you could do a filter or whatever, like make a grayscale image and then put like a white line, like almost like a CRT over it. But it's not going to replicate that. Like there are flaws when you do it by hand, and those flaws actually make the work almost like a signature. So you're like trying to replicate a fingerprint essentially, and that's why AI is like shitting itself. And it's so glorious. You ever see it try to do stuff like when it tries to veer like the Pixar stuff or like whatever? You're like, oh come on, man.
All right, I'm gonna put that link in the chat. So if you like Paul Bunyan and Dracula, go check out Paul Bunyan versus Dracula. And look at some of these prices here. We got $12. Looks like physical first issue. It looks great. I can't imagine they're going to do like a whole series, but still, different levels here. $30. Yeah, just go through it and check it out. Some of this looks really good.
Yeah,
especially the ultimate. Was it this epic showdown bundle? It's got like shirts and a cup, and that's cool. Good for this guy. It's a solid first try. It's a solid because they're public domain characters. They're familiar, and the art style looks great. Looks fun. And black and white is gonna be affordable. For everybody, the creators and for the buyers. So yes, I like it. Go check out Paul Bunyan versus Dracula. Like it. Well, also, we've got about 30 people watching us now. If you are new here, please hit the like. Would really love it. Also, sub me. I'm over 420 now. 420. So, on the way to 500. And you can help me. You can help out the channel. So go ahead and hit that like, hit that sub, and come back. Come back and actually go watch the other indie shop Sundays as well. Because those were good too. Really good topics and whatnot. Anyways, all right. How about anybody else? Anybody else have something that they wanted to pick out of that? Let me try showing it again.
Dark Side is pretty cool. Dark Side is comics.
Was it Gemini Crusaders?
Yes, Gemini Crusader.
Yeah, basically the premise of this one, because he was on a show that I was on the panel on Friday. Basically, it's knights versus aliens essentially.
Oh, okay.
And basically the good guys, the knights, or like the medieval people, these two chicks, they managed to get a hold of alien like biomechanical mechas that can like transform and stuff. So it's like they're fighting fire with fire. Like these good aliens came down to Earth and said, "Look, you guys are, there's the bad guys coming," and the humans were like, "Demons!" Left behind all these. Cool. It looks pretty sweet. Plus, it has Paul Roderick's art in there for the cover.
Boobs, boobs and dresses. So if you want to sell to men, show them boobs and dresses. All right, that's fun. Watch the trailer. You guys hear that?
Oh yeah.
What was that? A funky night.
Like a weird dance.
Is this all AI manipulated or what?
No, some of it's AI, but that's Red Gaze that did this trailer.
Oh, nice.
I'm not an AI hater.
For me.
So.
Red Gaze did a trailer for me. He's really good.
Right.
That's a freaky face. Well, that's cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I believe I already bought one of the tiers, probably the basic tier. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
And not just so I can give it a mid review like he did mine.
No salt.
That was awesome.
Yeah. We went over that a few weeks ago. So if you're new to the channel and would like to have a good laugh and also check out what my book is about, go back. It's the show we did on reviews. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That page is really good.
This like
That's the
penis
pylon
thing right here is really weird, but it's all
Yeah,
right.
if you see the horse skulls on it and stuff, basically it's
Yeah.
like the thing. It repairs itself by using biomaterial, so it like makes
Okay.
up the corpses of horses.
Yeah. Bio robots.
Yeah, those are the pylon mechas or whatever. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, those are the
Dildos.
two chicks.
Come on.
Yeah.
The dildos.
Or kind of
The robot, bio robot dildos.
Yeah. Well, I think there's one there where it shows it changed from like the dildo to like a monster thing. It looks kind of cool. But yeah, right
Oh,
there.
shit. There we go.
It's got
Yeah.
weird jaws and stuff.
Yeah.
That is that's a different design. I don't think I've seen anything like that.
Yeah,
it is.
Some bunghole action.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Sounds
3
out of
stink
his butthole.
stars. That's a lot.
I said dart gun.
Bung.
That's cool, though.
Bung's a fun word.
Bung is fun.
So Pal, I guess, did the coloring on this.
No, Pao did a cover on
Okay.
that. There's a bunch of like, there's a couple of so there's this cover.
I think that's the one I got.
Yeah.
This
That
cover.
is cool, man.
Yeah,
That's a
Alan
cool cover.
Goldman. Yeah, then there's the. I thought it was an homage to the Lord of the Rings, but
That's what I thought too when I first saw it.
definitely
I was like,
also
oh, it's like when they hid, the hobbits hid.
yep. Sid did the interior. This is Pao's
Oh,
cover.
tentacles.
Okay.
I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where's that tentacle going?
Trading card.
That's the real influence manga has had.
Yeah, that's Yakuza.
So if that is tickling your fancy, go check that out.
Yep.
All right. And does anybody else have something that they would like to talk about? Let's pull that up. 1 second. I think that I would like to talk about. Oops, not that. Where am I at? There we go. I think I'm going to pull up this.
Oh yeah.
Pull up Patty's stuff. He was nice
cool.
enough to come on the show, and hopefully he will be joining the crew, and he'll make a couple more appearances over the days.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, Patty's cool. Anyways, Enduring Light for Old School Revival, also known as OSR, from Patty Parlor Games. He, in my opinion, Patty is a talent that has not even yet come close to peaking. So he's got a great stream over there on Rumble. Gets a ton of views. He's a really funny dude. He does a great Trump impression, and so this apparently is an add-on to another friend of the channel, Victor Gorchev, who did, and I think it's all coordinated with Shadow Dark. So if you are in the tabletop kind of sphere, if you haven't heard of Shadow Dark, it could be the answer to falling D&D sales, which we talked about last week, where Shadow Dark, did over 1 million. Last time I checked, it was like 1.5 million. So there are new, or other indie kind of brands out there that are making a difference, and people are really buying it up. What's up, Dave? Thanks for joining us.
Howdy,
Yeah, we
Dave.
say Pal Rodricks, and Dave's like, what?
Yeah. He comes in. He's like, hey, those are my friends. Yeah, so this is Patty on RPG. Let me copy and post that in the chat as well. So if you saw last week's show, you like Patty. We talked about his product a little bit. I just wanted to make sure that everybody gets to see it again and share the link. So go check it out. Go check out what is it? Endearing Light. And like I said, I believe that's all connected to the Shadow Dark stuff. So because Victor Gorchev, he likes to do like he did Modern Necessities, which is like you can basically you could have orcs with machine guns and stuff like that, and it's just modernized kind of equipment that you can plug and play on your own stuff. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, you kicked ass with that too, man. Like you did pretty good. Like that was impressive.
And also actually because he is a regular in the chat, let me pull up where is it? Let me fumble around. Give me a second. So this is Frequency Studios, which I believe is Wrangler in the chat.
Nice.
Very cool. Dang it.
Oh.
I'll get this down eventually, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So if I am not slow. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this. Bad Kitty. I'm not sure if he even had anything to do with this, but he shared it, so I thought that I would share it as well.
Well, there's his name right there.
That's him.
Yeah, that's literally the author.
Oh yeah, I see him now. Yeah, duh. That makes sense. I said I'm not slow. On a potato farm in a rural Connecticut town lives an impressive girl. Potatoes. Named Haley Starr and her father Harry Starr. Oof, that's unfortunate. The day after her 10th birthday and before Halloween is when they came. Invaders from another reality captured most of the townspeople and replaced them with strange copies. Okay. Interesting. So yes, this is on Amazon. So go check this out. This looks like novels. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Very nice. Get some novel writing in there. Let me put that in the chat. And then let us move on if you guys are cool with that, or if there's anything else that you saw that you'd like to talk about. Otherwise, let's move on to our stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Yeah, cool.
Let's see. All right. Let me show you what I've got going on. So right now I've got Burn Offerings, Immortalizing #2 Burn Offerings on Kickstarter, already funded, and books have been delivered on Indiegogo campaign, as well as the people that I picked up on Fund My Comic. Well, this is just a little thing to have a storefront on Kickstarter, but if you could go over there and help me out by backing me. So let me show you this beautiful trailer.
I'll find you, Locutus, my creator. From your chaotic bones I shall make my order. Congratulations, recruits.
I'm so excited.
I don't want to babysit two spoiled princes. I need to make a good impression of the soldiers. This is a silly waste of time.
What? Is that my long-lost magic ruby? Empress, find my ruby!
Your will is my command, my master. We're invading Terra to find Balmain's ruby.
Go forth, save the innocent, and punish the wicked. Yes, Father. I have an easy life. But is that all there is?
The ruby could win this war once and for all. Let's kick the nest and see what falls out.
Locutus calls to his creations for help.
Where are we?
What are those things? We have to get out of here.
Have the gods gone mad?
The Bomanites have invaded Terra. Has the last shard of Locutus' heart been found?
The war cannot continue without the heart. We can't risk losing it if it's there.
You've come to the wrong place. Terra is under my protection.
Oh, yeah. Woo! So on the Kickstarter, all I'm offering is what I'm offering is the two premium editions. You know, it's funny on the Indiegogo, I sold a lot of floppies because that's all I see on Twitter. It's like people who bought the floppies sharing, "Hey, I got my books" and all that stuff. So, which is always, it pumps me to see. So, but
Very cool.
yes,
I got a question for you, Aaron.
Yes.
What percent of the comic did we just see in that trailer?
What percent?
I feel like we just saw like 60% of it.
We saw a lot of the story, yes, but obviously not all of the art. So, I wanted to give a good overview of the comic so that people kind of understand, you know, what they're getting into, because it is a lot of story. You know, I came from the idea that I'm going to do a fantasy novel and adapt that into comic book form. Some people like it. Some people thought I hit and missed, but I really enjoy it. It's a good story. If you've played tabletop games, you know, it feels like a D&D campaign, the start of a D&D campaign. So, you know, and the second one's out, which really I didn't get too far into the second one. I didn't show a lot of art from the second one, just because I didn't want to spoil it too much. And
catch up from book one.
Yeah. And then number 3 is actually, I spent this morning and yesterday morning going through the edits. I've got the sketches, or the sketches were all done, at least the layout sketches, and I sent the editing notes to my artist Jose Garcia. So we'll see if he just gives me the finger or if he helps me out and kind of goes through the edits and agrees with me, because I do listen to him a lot. He's got like 10 years in animation, so I respect his opinion on everything, and it's only a few things have been like, hey, can you change this or change that? I went through this time, and I won't say I carried a hatchet, but I did chop some things and move some things around. So anyways, it is in production, and it will be the third act of the introduction arc, and where the shit really hits the road.
Well, Burnt Offerings was great, man. It was great.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
I got
thank
it on
you.
my spinner rack here. Yeah.
Thank you for backing it, dude.
Yep. It was good.
Look at that. That's awesome. So like this scene, I really like that scene. I was nervous because it's a heavy dialogue scene. Not that there's a lot of dialogue, but the fact that it's like, there's no action other than the emotions that everybody is kind of interacting with. It's like not everybody gets along.
It didn't feel heavy.
It's really good. Thank you.
Yeah,
it really is a pivotal scene for the whole story arc.
Yeah.
So anyways, yes, thanks a lot, Derek. I'm glad. Thanks for buying, by the way.
Yeah, man.
All right, and let's get out of there. Chris, do you have a link?
Sure.
Oh, and if you guys liked what you saw out of that, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. So go over to Kickstarter and help me out. I think it's just the goal is 500. We've got 6 backers, and we're already more than halfway there. So we should be able to hit it if I could just get 6 more people, right? So be one of those 6 people, please.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Do it.
Yeah. So I posted a link in the chat. I can post it in private.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I too have a trailer.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to the private. There we go. All right. Present. You guys got way too quiet.
Oh.
It's not my turn to show my shit.
I'm just waiting. waiting.
Yeah, I don't want to.
There we go.
I mean, I got a big mouth. I don't want to walk over.
We were just talking about how smartphones distract people, and you can't focus on things anymore. You want to distract people with Pinatail.
All right, let's do this. Let's pull this over here. All right, let's check this out. The War of the Trees. It's gonna do it. Come on.
Knowledge is like a seed. When sown in fertile minds, it opens doors to new possibilities. Truth, once buried by the ages, is again revealed. the unimaginable becomes demystified. New wonders are discovered that transcend the limitations of previous understanding. However, some doors should never be opened.
Oh, shit.
Our tale continues with the divergent paths of our heroes. As a naive king toils with ancient powers beyond his control, a grieving queen makes a fateful decision that forever changes their world.
Nice. Dude, can't wait.
Infinito Chronicles, the War of the Trait.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Nah, sorry, 1 second. So I got two different aspect ratios or something on my two different monitors, and it screws me up. So 1 second. So what can you tell us about Infinitale?
Sure. Yeah. So book one was crowdfunded back in 2021. We're hoping to get book two out within the next month or so, or at least the campaign launched. And it started as a tabletop role-playing game series, and we chronicled the game sessions and made the Infinitale story. You know, Infinitale, a portmanteau of infinite and tale. It's the idea is that the story will keep going. And we did. We had to go for like almost 30 years at one point. And we're offering two different or three different editions of the book this time around based on feedback we got from the first book. I sent out a survey asking, people that paid me money what they want more of and what they don't want more of. And we ended up kind of getting some I don't know. I wouldn't say mixed messaging, but there was definitely a desire for certain art things to change. So we're offering the standard edition, which is done by the original art team of the first book, an alternate art edition, which is closer to a more storybook, i.e. Bandes des Années, like the European style comics. Then jumping on the manga bandwagon, leveraging my wasted time in Japan. I thought, why not try a manga edition? So it's basically a black and white version, read right to left. It's in the smaller format, and all the onomatopoeia is in Japanese. So
very cool.
これは一番です.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Definitely my top anticipated ones. I read the first one probably 2 or 3 years ago. In fact, that's how we met. You were one of my first guests on the show, I just all your merchandising and everything is top notch. Nobody is even coming close to that. And then I've read a bunch of the manga. In fact, I had to stop reading it because I'm like, I want to hold it in my hands and read it. So
these are beefy books, by the way. Like it said 116 pages in the trailer. It's actually 120. And then the manga is closer to 180 pages. It's a little over, I think.
So, and a bonus card? Okay.
Yeah. If you sign up for the mailing list, you'll get a link to the secret perks when the campaign launches. You'll notice it by that little golden badge on the upper right of the perk cards. And what that means is you'll get access to other perks. There's other stuff as well, but for being on the mailing list and you get those links, you'll get access to this free card with your purchase. So I believe when I give bonuses, I don't believe in charging extra money. So a bonus is a bonus, and you get some free stuff and a little bit of a discount.
So when you did your polling of the people that backed, did they say that they wanted more boobs and blood? I assume. There.
well, we definitely have more boobs and blood in the second book.
Yes.
And it's not done in the cheesecake fashion. So it's not like you don't go to Kickstarter and see everything's like big boobs and lesbians. Like this, there's actually Yeah. This is based more on like the old '90s fantasy, the stuff that like I enjoyed as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that there's a market for it still.
Yeah.
This is more Dragonlance and less free run.
Yeah. Well, and I'd say there's a lot of immersion. So like you go way into it. Made up runes and all this other shit.
Oh
so
yeah,
cool.
yeah, because it was a tabletop role playing game, and we were talking about like why there are a few dungeon masters, because it's so much work, dude. This world building crap, like we had a game, like as a dungeon master, you're basically like the world is only as big as the dungeon master, their knowledge and their imagination. So like when players are smarter than the DM or know more, it gets really depressing. So for me, I was like, okay, I need to know stuff that players are asking, and I wasted my youth researching like what is herbalism, what are the different types of armor? How does armor work? How does siege warfare work? So I before Google, I spent my youth in a library just plumbing the depths of the all the books, learning that stuff. So yeah, that's my world building is based a lot off of like the Mabinogion, which is the Welsh mythology, and the Tuatha De Danann, the Irish mythology. There's a bunch of other stuff in there too, but I didn't want to rip off Tolkien, and I didn't want to rip off Dungeons and Dragons, so I kind of ripped off what they ripped off.
Yeah, the Kalevala and all that. We're at about 40 people watching, so please, if you are new here and have not yet, hit the like, sub me, and come back next week. Actually, go back to the beginning of the show, check out everything that we were talking about, and definitely check out when we started promoting things, and start, take a look at all this stuff. There's so much out there. Tired of bitching about Snow White and how the dwarves are ugly or whatever? Come find out what's actually going on, in real creative circles, and you will be surprised, and you'll actually help out, the culture, and fight the culture war and all that other stuff. We're actually the ones doing it.
Yes.
All right. So Derek, this is your stuff. Give us a little bit of pitch about yourself.
About myself?
The project or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm starting a new project as a writer, and I've just started making a pitch. The one that you're seeing on the post right there is kind of a short pitch. I feel like I have a better one than that prepared.
Wait, let me read it. An enslaved boy, devoid of confidence or combat ability, seizes a chance for freedom by allying with a man condemned to die. Their bond becomes the catalyst for a dangerous journey toward liberation and self-discovery.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So it's okay, but I feel like I have.
Dude, you'll be refining. You'll be refining your technique for the rest of your life.
Yes, I am. I feel like there's a little bit more that I'm going to put into the story, but yeah, it's so basically this boy, who is a slave, you can see that he's killed a giant there, and he's bringing the head back to his captors. And so what's happening is, how did it happen? So there's the hook. That's the hook of the story. How did that happen?
Okay. How the hell does boy kill a giant?
Yeah. And somebody said, well, they threw a stone in his eyes, but I was like, no, at his forehead. I was like, no, it's not a David story, but it's it's definitely
wrong story.
Similar.
Oh, cool. Character studies.
Yeah, so I have the character I'm still developing. So everything is very early stages in this, but I think I have the look for the kid. I want his hair matted. I want him to be a little ready, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Reminds me like a Peter Pan kind of look.
Yeah. He's like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid. I don't know if he looks like that, but I felt like he did. So do you guys think so? I want to make sure I'm hitting the age right.
No, you're fine. Looks good.
Hey, so here's
like early puberty kind of look is what it looks like.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Another little sketch of him at the top with longer hair, and then rough sketches of some guys. These guys are called dark merchants. So there's going to be a whole network of merchants along this story that deal with his captors. And so the opening shot is the bottom panel there. You're going to see him. Yeah, it's going to be walking towards a village. You're going to see the blood dripping off the back of the cart. and his like the shadow of his legs and the wheels. And so basically that's how I'm going to start the story. And
right on.
So I'm giving you just a little glimpse.
Very cool.
Hopefully it's a little hook.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
some monsters. That's good.
Yeah, we got some goblins. They're not fully realized yet. They're still. I think their faces are what I'm going to keep. Their bodies will be in that style, but it's definitely not their final look. They're going to have some adornments.
What kind of
like
deadline are you thinking of?
That's funny because I don't have one. I need to set one, but I don't have one. And
when it's done,
yes,
yeah. you got to set deadlines, yeah. Otherwise, it'll fall away.
Well, it's something that I just keep working on, and once I feel like I have the characters fleshed out enough where I can start drawing them, that's when I'm going to start getting the pages done. So,
Frederick says people who build better stories rather than complain on the internet. Great to see. Yeah,
nice.
I mean, basically. I mean, we bitch, don't get me wrong, but that's not the soul of the show. Soul of the show is to actually promote people and to get the word out there, even if it's to my lovely 40 people watching right now. So, yeah, what's up, Frederick? Oh, by the way, I don't know if you got my my DM, Frederick, but yeah, it was a shipping mistake, and you can go ahead and keep the books that you got. So, whoops. Anyways.
No.
All right. Well, that's cool, dude.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to your new project because I like the Ballad of the Celestials. It was a cool idea, and I like the art too. So, I mean,
thank you.
You know, I did that review of yours, and you heard what my son had to say. So,
yeah, it was great.
You guys had something going on there. It's unfortunate that it fell apart. So,
yes, I enjoyed it too. I love the characters, and you know, unfortunately that happened, but I'm ready to move on to something new because now I'll have not only full control, but you know, some of the creative stuff that I want to do come out. So,
yeah,
hopefully be more fun.
Yeah. Is anybody else? James, would you like to plug your stuff?
Yes, sir.
Wait, if that didn't come off weird, go ahead.
You're making it weird. All right. So I'm a prose novelist. I don't have many pretty pictures. I don't have a trailer. I just got a book that's available print on demand now. Actually, I have several books. So I'm talking about my latest one right now. It is the third installment of my Cyberpunk series. And you could start at the beginning, or you can jump in. They're set up kind of like Dresden Files, where each book is its own plot to completion. And this one was somewhat disturbingly prescient with its timing because it came out right at the end of last year. And the premise is that Detective Blackstone is tracking down a serial killer that's working his way up the food chain of a company, going after the CEO. And some of you might remember a certain event that happened at the end of last year involving murdering a CEO. Completely unrelated, I swear. And unfortunately, that's not the first time that something I've written and made up has become eerily similar to reality.
And what was it? What are you talking about?
The United Healthcare.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, that happened. And like the next week, my book came out, and I was just like, so yeah. This takes place in a mega city because I take a lot of inspiration from Tsutomu Nihei's Blame. I love giant, overgrown cities, hyper urbanization. The setting is more updated to like what has actually happened than what you would think of when you hear cyberpunk, because cyberpunk is very much a product of the 1980s. So you'll see a lot of differences in how the internet works and the way people react to like video games integration there.
Yeah.
I think I brought a great new spin to things in that way. But at the end of the day, though, it is a dual perspective novel where you're simultaneously tracking. I don't know how much I want to describe him because there's some spoilers about that, but you're tracking a guy on the inside of the company as well as Detective Blackstone, who gets brought in when dead bodies start showing up.
Oh,
and this one leans more into the action side of things than previous installments. My first book, Faceless, is very much a direct murder mystery. There's a guy that got killed, and for some reason, the surveillance state can't identify him. Whereas book 2, Gamma Coin, is structured as a manhunt where there's the criminal, though his crime isn't that bad, but he's trying to escape the city, and you're not allowed to do that. So half the book is Kite's perspective, trying to get out as he gets tangled up with all the gangs in the underground that have the connections to get out of the city, and Blackstone trying to catch him, bring him to justice, and make things right. Yeah, I've got prose novels that don't look very pretty on a YouTube stream, but they're great stories.
Yeah.
So did those stories actually become true as well?
Yeah.
I'm starting to question if I need to be taking my own investment advice for, just saying like, well, I think this is going to happen in my cyberpunk setting, therefore I should be investing in yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, that's true.
I also have free to read epic fantasy available on Royal Road. I'm going to be releasing a brand new epic fantasy soon, basically when I stop being sick and get around to uploading it. What I already have is a huge scale world conquest scale story based where I took some inspiration from Napoleon and then fantasified it. But what's coming out next, it should feel like a Dungeons and Dragons adventure where it's one hero with escalating stakes, and the first book of what's probably going to be a saga is fully written. It's going to be released for free on Royal Road. So if you don't feel like spending the $18 or $15 to actually support me, you can go give me a review for what I released for free.
Nice.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very nice. Yeah. And that's a great way to do it too. Just saying, I put the link for Temporal Travelers Etsy store in the chat, and here is the one for James for the Amazon that you're looking at now. Once you get on the Amazon too, look around and look at what else he's got. He's got it on Kindle for $4, which is dirt cheap. That's like you get a coffee from Starbucks is more than that. Or hold it in your hand, the paperback at $15. So and then you write a lot. You've got a lot out there right now. In my opinion, was it like 5 or more books?
I have 7 books on Amazon, I believe.
Damn.
And
very cool.
The equivalent of 7 for free on Royal Road.
Yeah, and you can go there, and here you guys can see it says read a sample, so you can see if you like his prose or not. So
I've got a lot of other genres on Amazon that I don't want to take the time to pitch. Like I've got comedy and isekai and horror and stuff. I've got some far future space stuff. But I could be here for 2 hours talking about it.
Yeah, maybe another time. How about that? So I guess does anybody have any last minute things, or otherwise I'm going to wrap it up. Wrap it up, B.
Oh, had a good time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. And Dave, it's nice meeting you. Thanks for joining. You're welcome to come back and hang out. Another time if you like. James, thanks for coming on finally. We got you in the chat, the green room chat, all that stuff, but you've been sick and whatnot.
Yeah, man.
And
I was worried that I would start coughing today.
No, triumphant return though. You had a solid showing. So
yeah, man.
Hopefully we'll see you again soon. So I guess on that, thanks Derek, Chris for joining me again, and everybody out there in YouTube land. Go find an awesome indie creator and back them. You can help change lives. And you're going to get some good product. So, anyways, until next time.
Enough talk.